Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Did you miss us?
Because we missed you.
Well, I miss Lucy.
You better
Welcome
have,
back, Lucy.
bitch. Buongiorno,
She is
buonasera,
back.
ciao. I'm back from my trip from Italia. She's back, so we're here.
Yay. How do you feel being back?
I
You're like,
feel
I
good.
hate it. No, I'm kidding. Take me back.
No, I think after a while, like when you're gone for some time, you just want to come back home. So I think I was ready to come back home after being gone for 2 weeks, basically. I'm happy to be back. She's back, and I missed my bed. I missed my showers. Yeah.
Really? Wait, were you not
Mhm.
showering over there? No, I'm kidding.
No,
She's
I
like,
was not.
I was
I
getting
was
bird
doing
bath
what the
from the
Romans
fountain.
do. No, I was, but the water there is different. I think it's hard water over there. Like it
What does
just
that
feels
mean?
different. Hard water is like usually when there's a lot of minerals in the water, so your hair sometimes
Is
isn't
it like
adjusted to like
Is it like
Mexico,
in Mexico's water? Okay,
Yeah.
yes, I know what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mean
yeah,
now.
like that.
Gotcha.
So that's why I was like, oh my God, my hair was not doing well. But I think overall, I had a great trip. I miss Florence, if anything. That was my favorite part. I
Of
think I
all?
really
Yeah.
thrived there. And that was the one that I was looking forward to the most. I had a fresh tan because I got really tan in Rome because the sun was blazing and
Yeah.
all the walking and stuff. So that was like my best moment in
Well,
Florence.
I
Yeah.
thought you looked great in all your photos.
Thank
But
you.
maybe Rome did set the tone in terms of you guys got all the sun exposure, so then you were set up to be bronzed throughout the whole
Yeah.
trip. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I do think Rome definitely set a specific standard. And then after that, it was like, okay, what can we expect now?
Love
But yeah, I
that.
mean, it was a good trip overall. Definitely would go back to
Mhm.
Florence. I think the people were great. The food was amazing, the historical aspect of everything. So
Mhm.
can't wait to go back. Hopefully with you. Obviously, you were
I
missed
know,
on this
right?
trip,
I
you and your
know.
mom.
Oh my God, my mom. I think she saw one of your TikToks recently. It popped up on her feed, and she's like, "Oh, I saw the TikTok Lucy posted with her mom. I think it was the one where when you guys in the airport. I think.
Yeah, the passport one.
Yeah, I think it was that one. And then I was like, "LOL, my mom had FOMO for sure."
For sure, the next trip, at least she's coming.
Right. I know that's what I told her. But yeah, and
Yeah.
here's to hoping that next time we'll get to join you guys on your next Euro trip or whatever trip we
Yeah.
take with our mom.
Manifesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, do you have any bitch up moments and or recommendations?
My bitch up moment, I think, has been the fact that I just hit the ground running when I came to work. I'm happy I took a day off before I got back. I really thought it was going to be a slow introduction back into work, but it completely wasn't. A big report was waiting for me to get done, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
They
So
probably
that
were
was my
like,
bitch
"Well,
up
just wait
moment.
for Lucy to come back and she can take care of it." Well, Lucy's gonna be back on Tuesday.
It's the report that I hate doing. I hate doing those budget reports.
Oh yeah.
So one was waiting for me, but I'm really proud of myself because I got it done in a good amount of
Record
time,
time.
in record time. So I'm like,
Yeah.
either I'm getting really good at this or I fucked it up somehow. But I'm gonna go with I'm getting really good at this.
Yeah. No, I know when we were talking about it, I was like, I'm sure it's gonna be fine. And here's to hoping it takes you less time than it usually does. So I'm glad that you got it done. And that's one less thing off your plate.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm really proud of myself. And funny enough, my sleeping schedule, I don't know if it is jet lag. I feel like when you get jet lag from coming back, you have a harder time adjusting to like a good sleeping schedule here. I think my sleeping schedule got fixed for a while.
Yeah.
I'm a night owl,
Yeah.
so once I got back, I've just had a very normal sleeping schedule. Your girl's been going to bed like around this time. She's tired right now, actually,
I know.
and waking up at 6 a.m. every morning. And oh my God, the sun's out, the birds are chirping. Yeah, and I'm like, who is this bitch?
Not your circadian rhythm finally being in sync. That's so
Right? All it
funny.
took was Italy. Maybe I
Yeah.
should just go to Italy every once in a while to fix any sleeping issues I have.
Yeah. When shit starts hitting the fan with your sleeping and you're restless, you're like, I think it's about time to
It's
go back to
time.
Florence.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I'm glad your sleeping schedule is, I don't want to say back to normal because that isn't your normal, but it's what it should be.
It should be what your normal average
Yeah.
sleeping schedule should be. You should be getting at least 6 hours of
It's
sleep at
adequate.
like a good
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure.
That's good. That's another plus of traveling, I guess.
Yeah.
How did you feel it when you got there? Was it like bad, or were you also ready to hit the ground running when you guys got to Italy?
I mean, you know me. I was ready to hit the ground running. I think, not to shit on Rome, but I probably would never go back there unless I'm going with somebody who hasn't been, or to go to
Yeah.
places that I missed to see like any museums or anything. The things that you expect. Not a lot of people are very nice to tourists there. Yeah. We met some not so pleasant people in Rome, and I was like, oh, okay, well, but
Did
it's, yeah, noted. But, every region
everybody?
in Italy, like you would expect in the United States, is very different. Florence,
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, was very different from Rome. I think in Rome, you definitely had to. It was funny because I was telling my mom, like, I think I practiced my Spanish in Italy more than I have ever in Mexico. I was
Really?
trying to get around speaking Spanish and a little bit of Italian in Rome because it was very much needed. I think I was more so surprised that once we got to Florence, a lot of people were more welcoming and open to speaking English, and really appreciated when people tried to speak Italian. They were very supportive versus in
Mhm.
Rome, they're just like, I was like, oh my
They're
God,
like, you
try.
fucking, no, I'm just
You
kidding.
fucking
Just
tourist.
don't
Yeah.
be fucking rude.
Yeah,
Learn the
like get the fuck
language.
out of here. Which, you know what? I'm
They're
like,
like,
I
you're
would.
in Italy, you need to speak Italian. Just kidding.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's so fucking hot there. There's like no shade anywhere. I could see why people are just in a bad mood,
Pissed off.
pissed
Yeah.
off. It's hot. You have to deal with all these dumb tourists trying to get around in your own
Yeah.
city. So I get it. But at the same time, it made me appreciate a little bit of the people here. I mean, I'm like not saying everybody here is really nice. Everybody is different again, but I think when it comes to service, and obviously our lifestyle has a lot to do with that because some people are working for a paycheck and they have to be nice to you. But I was like, oh, if certain things had happened here, certain things that we experienced had happened here, I think more people would have given a little bit of grace and not reacted the way that they reacted and not made it a bigger deal than it was. I think one of the examples that I have in my head was when we went to the Vatican. I think Brian had accidentally walked in front of a group that was taking a photo, and I think they were Spanish, and they're like, oh, like making a big deal. And then Portia was also not paying attention, and she kind of walked in like otra, and they were making it such a big deal, and I was like, okay, it was an accident. Clearly, they literally realized they were in the middle of the photo and they apologized. They're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and walked out. And so I think if that would have happened, at least here in California, because it has happened to us, I don't recall ever having, experienced such a big reaction
Oh
for
God.
something
I
that was
probably shouldn't
clearly
go there then,
accidental.
because that will for sure, like, that happens to me here all the time.
Yeah. It's so interesting because, we experienced some car crashes here and there. And obviously it was a very different culture where it's, no damage, we're good to go. Versus in America, it's, you have to get down, insurance, obviously, again, different culture and whatnot. But one of our guide tours was like, oh yeah, we will cuss people out while we're driving, but we let it go after a little bit. So it was a little interesting to see,
The
I think,
differences.
juxtaposition, right? Because at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, it is what it is, but also you make it a big deal of certain things too. And I was like,
It
I
was
think we
interesting the
experienced
things
that
that
in
they gave
Venice.
weight to. Yeah.
Yeah. In Venice, we misplaced our tickets for the ferry. We didn't know we needed it to get off of the ferry to get into the airport. It wasn't announced. We didn't know. I know Brianne had all the tickets, so she misplaced it. She couldn't find them. She told the person what happens if we misplace it. The guy was like, but he was like so annoyed that she even bothered to ask the question. And she was like, okay. So we went to talk to the guy who was part of the ferry crew, and he was so annoyed. He's like, oh my God. Like, he made it such a big deal. Like, I can't believe you lost your tickets. He gave her one. And then she's like, I need seven because it's seven of us. And he's like, ah, like it was like the biggest inconvenience to him. And I'm like, noted. Okay. I mean, like, things happen,
Not just that,
but
like, I'm
it's,
pretty sure you're not the first people to do that. And it's like
yeah,
the travel entity or party or whatever. It's like you would expect these things to happen. So
yeah,
I'm sure it's just another day for them.
yeah. And
You
that's
should
why
always
we're
like
like,
set better expectations for yourself. Yeah, obviously this is gonna happen. People lose shit on tours on while they're on vacation all the time.
yeah. So, it was definitely a little bit of a culture shock for sure. It made me appreciate a little bit of home. Surprisingly, I'm like, don't make me defend. people back
Right?
home.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think certain situations, if it had happened here, wouldn't have been made as big of a deal. I think people would have
Mhm.
given a lot more grace to people and a
Mhm.
lot more helpful for sure, or given alternatives or some form of solution instead of being like, stupid
Figure it out.
American. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it is
Ooh.
what it is. You learn and you live, and it was an overall great experience. But, some things just stick with you. And I'm like, okay, mental notes, mental notes. Yeah. Other than
Well, I'm
that,
glad you guys had a good time. I mean, your pictures and all the content and stuff looked like so much fun. I'm sure you guys lived it up there and had some good food and good wine and everything.
oh, yeah.
And at the end of the day, I feel like all those little tiffs were worth it in the end, I'm sure. Or they were just the
Yeah.
least of your worries now that everything is
Yeah,
said
just
and
little
done.
memories, something to
Yeah.
remember. But
Yeah.
yeah, I loved Italy, would go back for sure. Obviously, there's a lot more regions to go to and explore. So
Yeah.
I'm not against going back. So whenever you're ready, let me know.
Well, I'm ready now. Just kidding.
Okay, let's plan it for next year. Just
Right, we'll
kidding.
start now. All right. Well, my bitch moment this week was taking over editing the pod while you were away, which obviously was a huge undertaking for me because I actually had never done that before. And you and I went through the crash course of recording, editing, and what you do, and did sort of like a step by step. And then I had to figure it out for 2 weeks. It was good. I think it was, I mean, obviously you were there to help out when I got stuck in the stuff when it came to the recording not being available. I think it was good for my character. No, I'm just kidding. It was a good skill to build, and more than anything because you've taken ownership of editing since we started the podcast, and I feel like we always wanted to move to a place where it's something that it could be a shared responsibility for like things like this where you're out of pocket, you're traveling, or what if something happened with your computer, whatever
Yeah.
the case was. So I was glad that I got the opportunity to do it, and it wasn't so bad, and I was proud of myself for figuring it out and delivering.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't had a chance to listen to any of the episodes that we
Oh, don't do it.
recorded.
No, just kidding.
You're like, I gave myself a good edit. Just kidding. I imagine.
No.
She's like, oh, but you, on the other hand, no, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you did an amazing job.
Mhm.
And I think, like you said, it's a good step for you to learn how to edit these episodes. And I'm very grateful that you were able to do that while I was gone. So I appreciate
Yeah.
it. And yeah, now on to bigger and better things.
On to the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Speaking of, so what are we getting into today?
So, funny enough, when I was on my way out, I was like, oh, Love Island is back. I honestly wasn't planning on watching it, to be quite honest. I was just like, oh, whatever. I would see some people start their think pieces. I'm like, I don't care. I don't need Love Island to infiltrate my algorithm right
Algorithm.
now. So I was
Yeah.
like, skip, skip, skip. But obviously, when I got back, we are like, what are we going to talk about? And so let's do a little reality check and go over Love Island and see what we can learn from this season, especially coming off of the last 2 seasons. I think would be
Yeah.
very interesting, and the different success that those 2 seasons had, the people, the very different, I
Dynamic
guess,
and
yeah,
outcome.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So for sure, it was funny because I think we had discussed it. It's only 6 episodes. And I was like, oh, that's fine. I can break that up in 2 days. It just kept going. I didn't
It's
realize
every
it was,
day or every other
yeah.
day. I forgot. Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, it's in episode 9. I was like, oh my God, when is it over?
No, I feel like you had a crash course. It reminded me of, I think it was season 6 when you were like,
Yeah.
oh, let's do Love Island. And I was like, I don't watch that. I haven't watched that. And you were like, no, it's really good. Like, tap in. And I think I tapped in towards the end of the season, and I
Hmm.
had to consume it too within a matter of maybe a week or two. But it was good.
Yeah, I
It
was
was
like,
so
it
much
just
fun.
keeps going.
It's fun when I do that, just because it reminds me of when I used to watch reality TV for sport. And this was when I didn't have much else going on during my downtime, in terms of I wasn't working, like I was in college or I was in high school during the summertime. So it reminds me of that when I do have to like binge watch a lot of this. But you know what? I actually was never like, I'm not going to tune into this season. I was curious about tuning into this season. Oh, I wonder what are the vibes this year, considering some of the backlash and some of the scandals that they
Hmm.
had last year. And I think last year's season had this whole comparison of season 6 to season 7 and how it
Yeah.
just wasn't it. And I think we could all just agree that season 6 was peak. Love Island,
Yeah.
and we're never
Mhm.
gonna have that season again because obviously people have moved on and stuff. But I will say that I have been enjoying this season. I've been pleasantly
Really?
surprised at this season in terms of how much I'm enjoying watching it. I wasn't sure what to expect out of it. I was just like, I'm just gonna watch it for the vibe, see what's going on, see who they chose. Hadn't really seen a lot of think pieces or a lot of comments on it when it first started because I think I watched it a few days into and I also had to catch up. But I was like, you know what? Let me just tap in and see what's going on. And I've actually been enjoying it so far. I'm definitely
It's
invested.
interesting because I feel like
You're like, I
I'm
fucking
like
hate it.
no, I think it's more so like, am I watching Love Island? I feel it's been really slow. I think
Hmm.
once I finished episode 9, I'm like, wow, they've only eliminated 2 people so far.
Which
And
is, yeah.
you know what I mean? I feel like these last 2 seasons, they were eliminating people left and right. And they just keep adding people for sure, which isn't a bad thing, but they've only eliminated 2 people. And then I will say this cast feels so normal in some ways that
Yes.
it's a little weird, you know, oh, they seem so normal versus last year was definitely people came with intention.
Mhm.
I do think that there's some people on this cast that did come with intention,
Yeah.
obviously, but they still feel pretty normal and
Yeah.
don't seem to be playing it up too much for the camera or for the show.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been an interesting watch, but I was
Yes.
just like,
Interesting for
at
sure.
one point I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching Love Island. I forgot. I'm like, this is a little slow for me, especially for an episode 9. A lot of the connections haven't been very, like I just don't think there's connections at all, to be quite honest.
I don't think there's any deep connections. What I have found refreshing about this season has been the cast in the sense that I feel like it's the first time in a while that the cast feels, dare I say, normal. They're, at least the girls looks wise. It doesn't seem
Yes.
like they're like what is it, Instagram face vibes and stuff. Not to say that no one's doing it or that no one hasn't done a little here and there, but the girls
Hmm.
definitely are giving more of a natural vibe in the sense that like they
Yeah.
don't look like they're like full of like fillers or whatever. Body wise as well. I mean, I know like Kenzie has her boobs done, but body wise, it also seems like they've given like a good range of girls, which I
Very
thought was
diverse. Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely giving diverse. And it was funny because I think one of the things that I did see in terms of just public reactions to the new cast, a lot of people were underwhelmed with the new cast, right?
Mhm.
And so I remember when I went to see it, I was just like, oh, yeah, I kind of see it. But then I checked myself because no, these are normal, good looking people. Like, this is what
Mhm.
normal, good looking people look like when you haven't been doing the most to your face and put yourself under the light and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's just we're so used to this,
To the filter, yeah.
Instagram faces and this and that that we kind of forgot how refreshing it is to just have normal looking people, normal looking
Yeah.
faces. So that's one of the things that did kind of catch my eye of the cast or first impressions, and I did enjoy it.
I agree.
And I have enjoyed people's personalities as well. No one is like too crazy yet, or like I feel like everybody seems like their demeanor seems like pretty level headed, or at least it seems like surface level when I first watched the first episode and such. And as drama develops, you start seeing people's true colors are coming out. What was interesting was that I did see a lot of people coming in being very mindful of how they move within the villa, knowing what they know from previous seasons, and
Yes.
also how public perception really shapes voting and who you get with and all these kinds of things. So you
Mhm.
definitely see how people have kind of, I think people did their homework before coming into the villa, which has been interesting
Yeah.
to watch, right? And maybe that's why it feels like it's slow because people are moving a lot more cautiously and they're trying to be a little bit more mindful of things and not trying to stir up drama or create chaos in the house.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
last season definitely scared a lot of the contestants this season, especially the After the Villa
Mhm.
season. I did watch that, and I did notice, at least with that cast, that perception was a big deal for them and how they were being perceived outside of the villa.
Right.
And so when it came to this cast, I do agree that perception also plays a big role this season. I think, especially with the boys. I noticed it a lot more with the boys that they were very mindful with the way that they
Mhm.
spoke amongst themselves, but also the way that they speak to their partners, which,
Mhm.
I can't fault them because you do want that sort of mindfulness and communication. But at the
Integration,
same
yeah.
time, how sincere are we being here?
LOL, yeah.
Do we really mean that? Or are we just,
Just saying it.
yeah, a lot of these cast members definitely told us who they are at the very beginning. So I'm not very surprised with a lot of the actions that a lot of these cast members have done. I mean, especially I think Sincere is one of those people that he's told us who he is, and he's mentioned it several times
Yeah,
to Bombshells. He's like, I tend to put other people's feelings above myself, and I'm not a selfish person, but I do think that sometimes because he doesn't want to hurt other people's feelings, he tends to not move the way he wants to, but also because he's scared of the perception that
he's
of,
scared of confrontation.
he's also scared of the way that we would perceive them because they're like, oh,
Right.
he's a fuckboy. He's not being sincere,
He
obviously.
isn't, he hasn't. The way
Yeah.
he talks to these girls or people and the way he moves is like night and day. And it's interesting because you see him have isolated conversations, right? Whether it's with Melanie or that bombshell or amongst
So,
the
yeah.
guys. And it feels like, oh wow, this guy's self-aware. Like this guy understands what's going on. He's like being
Mhm.
mindful, he's being considerate, you know? And then you see him play around on their faces and it's like,
Yeah.
ah,
And
no, just kidding.
I will say, I don't think it's because I want to give them grace because they're
Mhm.
young. I forget how,
Yes.
no, actually, this season I've been really
It's one
aware
of
of
the
how young
youngest.
they are.
It's one of
Yeah,
the
they are
youngest
so
casts in a
young.
while. Yeah.
And I literally, I see my little brother. My brother's their age. He's going to turn 22 this year. And I'm just like, fuck, dude. If he was in this, I wouldn't want my brother on a show. Why are
Yeah.
they so young? Maybe if they were more like Bryce's age, I could,
Yeah, I
I
think
can see
Sean
that a
and
little
Bryce
bit.
were the oldest, and now
Yeah,
it's just Bryce.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, damn, they're really young. So I'm going to give them a lot of grace because there's a lot of growing up, obviously, that they have to do,
Yeah.
but they can't do that until they experience certain things. And unfortunately, this
And this
is one of
is
those
yeah.
learning opportunities for them. So I think Sincere obviously has a lot of growing up to do. I don't necessarily think that any of them should be coming out with a very serious relationship out of this. Maybe they
Right.
should. I don't know. I do think that they need to live a lot
Yeah.
more. So that's why I don't really see any deep connections being formed here. I think, again, a lot of them are playing the game well.
Yeah, they're playing the game well, and I think they're having fun too while
Yeah.
they're at it. I
Hmm.
agree. I do think I haven't seen any connection be really, really deep to the point where it's like, oh, like this is endgame. But it makes sense because to your point, they haven't removed a lot of people from the
Yeah.
island. So these people have been spending enough time with each other to the point that they're really locking in, not locking in, but they're really developing connections, whether it's friendship
Hmm.
or whether it's platonic. But you see the connections being formed there. I did think
Yeah.
it was interesting when it came to the coupling. I know you mentioned that it seemed like they haven't really dropped people from the villa yet, but I do think that it seems like some of the dynamics or the challenges that they've done, and even introducing bombshells, it feels like they brought them in earlier than usual. Do you feel like that was the
They
case this
did.
season too? Which I thought
Yeah,
was
they
an
did.
interesting way
They
to shape
switched it
things
up a
up.
lot. Yeah. Because who did they bring in right away? They brought in, who did they bring in right away?
They brought
Oh,
in Miguel. Not is it Miguel? Was that his name? Gabriel. Gabriel.
Gabriel, and who was the other
Corbin.
one?
Was it Corbin?
Was it just those two guys that they
Yeah, I
came?
think.
Oh, and Keita. It was
Oh
Miguel
yeah,
and
Kata.
Keita that
Yeah,
came in, right? Yeah,
yeah.
that was very early. I was like, oh shit, bombshells
Even on the
already?
first night, on the first
Yeah.
episode, which or
Hmm.
yeah, or second episode, I forgot, but yeah, they
Yeah, it
did.
was very soon. I was like, okay. That's why I was like, is this Love Island? Like, what is happening? I'm
They
like, a lot of
definitely
these
have
people
changed
haven't
things
even
up.
formed connections enough
Yeah.
to be tested, really, which I
Hmm.
guess it's fine. But it was very interesting to see some of these bombshells come in. I think Kata and Gabriel feel like almost OGs in the way because they came in so early.
Yeah.
So I forget that they were bombshells until they start discussing bombshell stuff. They're like, oh, yeah, I was a bombshell. Or when Gabriel's telling Jen, oh, you're a bombshell, you kind of have to get used to it.
Yeah,
So I'm
like
like, oh,
this
yeah,
is
he
what
was
it
a
is.
bombshell.
It comes
Yeah.
with the
I'm like, oh,
territory. He's
yeah.
like, I stole Bea from Sean first night.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Yeah. That was,
Or second
um,
night, I think. I forgot. It was like a day or two into it, but it was still very fresh.
yeah, it was interesting to see that whole dynamic. And honestly, that felt like a complete, I was just like in a daze. What is happening? Who is
What?
Sean talking to?
Oh,
Like what? And then Kenzie, I'm
her heart.
50-50 with her.
Yeah.
Because, Kenzie's one of those people, especially seeing the intro. Oh, she knows why she's coming on the show. She is reality TV gold. You
Hmm.
want her on reality shows. But also, the fact that she was so dead set on the fact that Zach said
No
he
one.
doesn't date blondes. Like,
Yeah.
girl, are you even a natural blonde? Like
Yeah, that's
your
what I
roots were
said.
showing and it's only
I
been
don't
2 days.
I
And
know.
it was so crazy to me that she was so upset about that. And then
Because
throughout,
let's be real, it wasn't that she was not blonde, it was the other features.
no, for sure. But, and obviously, this is a case of she's been a big fish in a little pond for so long. And
Yes,
now
that's
she's
what
in
my
a big
sister and
pond
I
with
were
other
saying.
big fishes. So clearly,
She's
you
never
know,
been a
she's,
minority before, and
yeah.
it was really hard for her to handle that.
And, you know, but funny enough, I think she's one of those people that has been herself throughout the
She
whole
has.
season. That's why I'm so 50-50 with her because she's been herself this whole time. She hasn't really tried to be something she's not. Obviously, she's
The
playing
only
it.
the only time that, and not to say that she's trying to be someone she's not, but the only time that I thought was so funny in her desperate attempts to make connections with somebody, the way she would talk with the guys, anything that they said, like, oh my god, yeah, me too, yeah, she was just mirroring what they said, and it was just so funny to see it because I was like, come on, Kenzie, you don't gotta be a pick me to get picked.
I think the thing with me, I think something she keeps saying, she's like, I want to be a gazelle being chased by a lion. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's very specific. And then she's also seems to have an issue when she's not the only person that they're pursuing, even though she has options. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that she has options, she's good. But then I felt this type of way that she got mad at Mel for wanting to pursue Corbin when she
Yeah.
knows damn right Corbin's not her type. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. She even said it. Corbin's like, what's the other guy that came in?
Corbin for her is just a sexual conquest. She just wants
Yes.
to ride that pony. That is
Or
all that is
she
for
just
her.
likes the idea that she likes her. Like that's it.
Yeah, she likes
You
being
know?
pursued, and he's a handsome guy. Obviously, he was a hit amongst the girls. Like a lot of girls, whether they made connections with him or not, they everyone can
Mhm.
agree that that man is good looking, and that I will try to shoot my shot first, right? So she likes knowing that she ended up with that
She ended up with
trophy.
him. Yeah.
Yeah,
She got picked.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's my only gripe with her. I'm like, oh my God.
But to
Like
your
I
yeah, that's what yeah, to your point, it's a lot of these folks are young. So that definitely has been very present in my mind in terms of seeing how they move. And even when they talk about their relationship history and how for a lot of them they were just in long-term situationships, like the whole, oh, we were had 2 years, but we were like on and off the entire time. So it's very interesting. But yeah, Kenzie has been interesting to watch, definitely fun to watch. And
Mhm.
you definitely have seen where sometimes it's been one of those things where she was a big fish in a small pond and she's getting exposed to the different side of the world and it's just
Yeah.
trying to is bracing herself for it.
Yeah,
I
I
just
was actually very curious to see how she would react to Jen coming in because then she's like, "Oh my God, I'm not the only blonde anymore." Wow, I knew
she
you were
did
going to say that.
she
Not her
did
trying
yeah
to mark her territory. She's like, "I'm the only blonde."
yeah
So
there
she
can only
seemed
be
to
one.
take it on the chin. At least that's what it seems like.
Well, also because it didn't seem like Jen hit it off with any of the men,
Yeah,
especially with Corbin. Like she was like,
true.
she did not see Jen as a
Like a
threat
threat.
after the
Yeah.
first night, after she kind of sized her up. She's not a threat. That's why she was
Hmm.
mad at Mel because she knew Mel would be a threat for her because she is
Hmm.
more Corbin's type.
Yeah.
And this is also why she gave lip to Mel. I mean, I understand that Mel and her were kind of like friends, but she gave lip to Mel because she pulled Corbin for a chat, but she didn't give a fuck that Bea did it because she didn't see Bea
True.
as a threat.
True. That's true. I forgot
And I was
about
like,
Bea
that's very
pulling Corbin.
ableist of you. No, just kidding. I was like, interesting. But yeah, again, it's just been fun to watch because a lot of the connections are not fully set in stone yet. Which
Hmm.
what I've found interesting is that it does feel like the connections aren't that deep yet, right?
Hmm.
But you do see a lot of people moving very seriously, or at least trying to, right? Like in the sense of how some of the folks have reacted to challenges and people kissing other people and stuff. Everybody's like clutching their pearls, like, you put your leg around so and so, or you did this, you did that. And it's like, you guys, it's still very early on. We did say we aren't locked in. Well, I didn't
Yeah.
know that included kissing. By the way, everybody's kissing a whole lot this season. It's crazy. I feel like it's the most kissing I've seen in
I will
a
say,
season.
I think when Ania said, like, I love to kiss, I'm like, same girl. Like, that's the fun part, right? The
Right.
kissing
Yeah.
part. I will say, I was
I
like,
mean, I
can
don't
you
mind
guys
it.
just
I
get
just
over
noticed
it?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, can you guys just get over it? I think season 6 did a really good job of just keeping it fun and not taking
Fun.
anything
Yeah.
very seriously when it happened in the challenge, which doesn't seem to be the case here or
Yeah.
last season, but mostly this season either, which I think says a lot about, I don't know if it's just like the conservatism of things. I also
Yeah.
found it very interesting that in their interviews they talked or asked them questions about sex. Because I was like, I don't remember if that was like a thing
Was it
in
when
the
they
other
asked
seasons.
questions? Or was it their interview?
In
Oh
their
yeah, like
interview,
the
they talked
intros?
to, yeah, and I was like, that's interesting. Are we trying to get back to like a little rated R Love Island because it's been too like, I don't know.
I
But
mean,
I
I
mean, I will say compared to most seasons, it's been pretty tame.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
that's what I mean, that even though the connections arguably are not as deep of we as we've seen in previous seasons, you do get a sense of like these people are coupled up and they're not necessarily locked in because everybody keeps saying we're open to new connections, but they're not necessarily moving in that
No,
way
they're playing it
unless they're
so
sincere.
safe.
Yeah, there
They're
you go.
playing
They're
it
playing
so
it so
safe.
safe.
And I'm
And
like, none of these people like each other. Like, let's be real. If someone came in and was your type, like, bye.
yeah.
Adios.
Yeah.
Very like what happened with Kenzie. As soon as Caleb came in or that he was introduced, that's Kenzie's type.
Yeah.
That's who Kenzie's gonna go for, and she's gonna be ecstatic.
The
And I'm
fact
like,
that
bye bye, Corbin.
which is interesting. Well, I mean, that's basically what happened now in season 9. I mean, episode 9, that they like paired Kenzie with Caleb, and now we can really see what kind of stuff is going to develop there. Okay. Knowing that the connections aren't that deep and it's all platonic, dare I say.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorites so far? Or who do you like from the girls? Who do you like from the guys? Anything like that?
I like Trinity. She's so
Yes.
young. I feel so
I
protective of her.
yes, but I also like
Yes.
love her. I was just like,
Yeah. I think she's
she's one of
so
my favorites.
sweet. So
Mhm.
I'm like,
And
oh,
she's also
Trinity.
very real, I feel.
She is.
She's not with the
I
bullshit as much as people try to tag her as like, oh, she's so young, she's immature. It's not even immature. It's just like she's just
She's
young, you know.
young. Yeah.
And
But I
arguably all
like
these
that
other
she is open and she
yeah,
expresses herself, and she if she doesn't like something, she'll let you know, and I appreciate that. I was like, "Yes, girl, let him know." I'm like,
yeah.
"Bryce, what are you doing?"
First of all, I kept telling my sister that like Bryce was giving Tom Schwartz energy, and he still fucking gives me that energy. And that has always been like my bias towards him. But he has grown on me, but only in the sense of his relationship to
With
Trinity.
Zach? Oh,
No, to
okay.
Trinity. No, fuck him and his relationship with Zach. Are you fucking kidding me? The
Girl.
blind, these are two just basic bitches, like literally leading each other. It's the blind leading the blind. I saw this meme where it was like the scene where Bryce was having a heart to heart with Zach about, yeah, I don't really know how Trinity's feeling about me. He was being a little insecure about it. And he was kind of thinking maybe I should like explore a different connection, or I shouldn't put all my eggs in that basket. And then Zach was basically like, yeah, dude, you know, you should probably do this, do that. And then it was like, this is a POV when you have two bitches telling each other, exactly, exactly. And I was just dying because it's like, yeah, you're just like, you both delusional and leading each other
No, but
down
I
this path.
don't think I think honestly, I don't think that Bryce and Trinity like each other as much as they say they do. I think they have a really good friendship, which is a good foundation.
Yeah,
But I do agree that if Bryce and Trinity's type came in, as much as they like to say they wouldn't leave the relationship,
for sure.
yeah, if
Yeah.
they had an inkling like this person really likes me, I think they would. I think they would
Yeah,
like
which
bye.
makes sense because again, these connections are not that deep. It's been
Yeah.
fun and sweet to see their relation flourish in the sense of having that foundation of friends, they're gossiping, they're kikiing, and then obviously being in proximity with each other, you're bound to develop some sort of feeling for that
Mhm.
person. So to your point, it'll be interesting to see when their relationship actually gets tested. It would be someone that really is like more up their alley or traditionally their type, if you will.
I will say I think Bryce was right to be concerned about the age gap
Yeah,
because Trinity
it's
is
fair.
so young.
Yeah.
And I do think that even though they have a good foundation, a friendship foundation, I think that's all it really could be
Mhm.
because she is so young. And I think there's just so much for her to live still. And I know a lot of these girls are like, I'm looking for something real. I'm ready to settle down. And it's
Can
like,
we talk about the marriage and baby propaganda on this season? Like all like the most of these girls were literally like, I'm just ready to pop out babies. All the babies I want, like all the babies he wants. Just give me a relationship. That was Mel. And I
mhm,
was like, Mel, what is going on here? You are 20, what,
yeah.
23 years old? You guys are that's what you're aspiring for out of a relationship is wild to me.
I honestly, I have a love-hate relationship with Mel because again, she's so young, so I want to give her
She's
grace, but I'm
sensitive
also like,
cancer.
stand up, girl. Why are you dealing with this shit
I
first of
kept
all.
I kept being like, "Why are you putting the ball on his court? Like, well, you already know I like you, so like I'm just gonna let you figure it out." No, bitch, do
Mhm.
you want him? Do you want to pick him? Unfortunately, it sounds like she does, but it's just like,
You're
you know,
like
like because I mean, she said it. She's standing 10 toes down of like, I like you, I like him, and this is why she keeps giving him chances and such.
Mhm.
But I was just like, Mel, you gotta want more for yourself.
A part of me is like, "Ugh, girl, like, was this a smart thing for you to come on here? Because clearly there's still a lot that you have to work through emotionally."
Which is
Um,
expected if you're that
yeah,
age, if you're that
yeah,
young. And this is why they casted them so young. I mean, the
yeah.
producers know what they're doing at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
exactly. I was like,
Yeah.
"Ugh, why are we putting them through this?" So that's why
That's
I
why it's
do
smart to
feel,
give grace.
yeah, I wanna give her so much grace, and I feel a little protective of her because I was like, "Oh, girl, she's really going through it." And I feel so bad for her, but I'm like, "You did fuck up in certain situations, and there's some parts where
But
you
you
kn"
know,
but she took
she's acknowledging.
responsibility. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I've appreciated of her. That as much as people were coming for her for like playing in Sincere's face and doing that like bullshit in the challenge and this and that, I'm like, but she's done it to his face. Meanwhile, Sincere moves fucking behind her back and plays behind her back. Well, actually, now he's playing in her face because he went from being
yeah.
like, it's me and you're number one, this and that, this whole like PDA that they had. And then he goes and spends like 40 days
Hours
and nights with Esta
with
Sol.
Soul. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Which
just like
I
the
honestly,
actions aren't
it's
matching.
interesting because I will say I do like him with Soul,
Mhm.
but also I do think
It's
that
more of
he's
a
not ready.
lust.
No, I don't think he's necessarily ready for something serious. I think Soul is
Well,
definitely looking for something a
that's
little
what
bit
I
more serious, and I
mean.
don't think he's ready for it at all. But I do like them
That's
together. I do think that he's a little bit more open and honest with her. And
mhm.
I believe what he tells her. I think that Sincere checked out from Mel after that bed challenge, the
Yeah.
ping pong. I think that's when he checked out. He's like, I'm done because he was embarrassed. And I honestly don't think many, I mean,
He was
guys,
embarrassed, and the
ego,
guys
yeah,
echoed his sentiment on
exactly.
that one.
Once
It's
the
like,
ego comes into play, I'm like, oh, he's done. He's checked out. And
yeah.
because he kind of wants to spare his feelings and he's scared of what the public will think too,
Mhm.
he's like, I can't like 100% break up with her because she's also like potentially a backup plan for the game. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
like
think that's
she's
how
a
he's playing it a
lifeline
little
for
bit.
him too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, oof, Sincere. Just be honest. Like, if you want to explore with Soil, explore with her. But
The thing is that what is so grimy from Sincere is that Mel has told him a bunch of times, begrudgingly, but she's told him, if you want to go explore, go explore. But like, she was kind of busting a Janae, like, go do you. I'll do me, you go do you, I'm good.
yeah,
Like if you feel like you need to, that's fine, go ahead. But then he keeps trying to reaffirm her and telling her, like, no, it's so me. And that's what I think is fucked up because
yeah.
he is
I'm like,
not
stand on 10
sincere.
toes and tell her
Exactly.
what you want.
And
I'm like,
Melanie
it's
needs to
fair
wake up and read
game.
the signs where I feel like she finally did. Took her a while. It's like she said, I think America sees something I don't see. And I was like, yeah, girl, like wake up and smell the coffee. I don't know. With Sincere and Soul, I definitely do see where like their dynamic is definitely different than how he moves with Mel. But it has been very physical so early on. And that's where my whole thing is like, ooh, that's where I'm like, is this
Mhm.
more of a lust thing for him than an actual connection? Yeah, he has good chats with her, this, and that. I do feel like Soul has been genuine with him and she's generally trying to pursue this connection. Obviously, she's trying to stay too, but she seems to be really open with him and such, and he seems to reciprocate some of that. But for me, it's like how much of that is performative to the end of like how physical they've been from the very beginning. And
I
that's where I'm
mean,
like, and to your point, he's not ready for something serial where that's what Soul's leaning into, but he's kind of conflating that with how physical they've been so far.
yeah. I mean, but that's only what we've been shown, right? There's a lot of things
Right.
that we haven't been shown.
Goes
I
without
think even
saying
just
that
seeing
it's
like
produced.
Gabriel and B's like goodbye in this last episode, I
Mhm.
think was a little bit like, oh, there is some emotional connection there, even
Yeah,
though it may be a friendship thing or just an
yeah.
appreciation thing. I think
She's
seeing,
familiar because they're both
yeah.
Latinos and they were able to really connect on that level. Because I do feel like Gabriel didn't really, not that he didn't really connect, but I never really saw him connecting with the guys.
Well, at least we weren't shown that though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't think we were shown until recent. Even Corbin cried this episode
I
or was
saw that.
holding it back, and I was like, Corbin, why are
Well,
you
it's because
crying?
he dropped ban. He knew what like.
But
She lost a
still, it was
baddie.
like
Just
it
kidding.
wasn't his fault. So I was like,
No, it
oh, he
wasn't,
must
but
have
he
been like
felt
really cool
guilty.
with her though. I
Yeah.
think it was more so he was cool with her and appreciated her as a person. So obviously there's a lot that we're not
Well, yeah.
seeing and a lot of
Yes.
conversations that are being had that we're not
Mhm.
seeing.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, obviously the producers are going to edit
Are gonna
certain
do their
people a
thing.
certain way. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, we have to give all these people grace. There's things that we're not being shown. Obviously, they're
Mhm.
being edited a certain way. That's why
Right.
I will never judge Mel. I think obviously she's going through it. And
I will
I'm
judge
hoping
Mel
that,
in the moment, and then I'll be over it, because after I like decompress, I'm like, oh yeah, like that's true. But like as
yeah.
I'm going through my feels and the reactions, and then I'll be like, oh no, like yeah, that's true. But it's just because that's how I enjoy watching reality TV. I'm very reactive in the moment.
You're like, fuck him.
Yeah, no, literally. But what was I gonna say about Corbin? To your point, the producers do edit things. There's a lot of things we don't see, but what I thought was interesting about when Bea pulled him for a chat to kind of just test the vibe and see what's up with him, I did find it quite interesting and a little disrespectful that he wasn't making eye contact with her. And I don't know if that was a means for him to establish that he's not interested
Not
in her in
interested.
that
Mhm.
way. Because they had a surface level, it seemed like a good chat in the sense that, they were talking about kids and what kind of kids he wanted to have. And he wanted a girl first because he'd be good with girls. And I was like, sure. And then there was like, and then that he wanted two boys and the boys were going to play sports. And I was like, okay, because girls can't play sports, but all right. And so that's why I was like, oh my God, all this baby propaganda. But anyway, and then I was just like, wait, why isn't he making, like, why is they're talking to each other. Why is there no eye contact? Like, he's been very about eye contact with the other girls that he's pulled for chats. And I was like, oh, maybe because he doesn't fuck with her like that or he's not interested. And so he was trying to like set that boundary by not making eye contact. But, like he
I
was
got
quite.
intimidation a little bit from him. Like, not from him, but like him feeling intimidation towards her a little
Mhm.
bit because I do think Bia is obviously a very straightforward person.
Yes.
And I did appreciate her while she was on. I do think, which was funny because I think my thing with Mel, and when she came on and she's like, I'm a very straightforward person, like blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, when people say that, they're usually the first people to get offended and defensive.
And that's
So
exactly what
I
was
was like, mental
happening.
note, that's what happened. And I don't necessarily think Beatrice did anything wrong, but I can see how other girls were like, it was the approach. And I was just like, okay, sure.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
but the thing is,
projecting
yeah,
as
I
a
was like,
girl
yes,
who's been told that her approach is a little
not the
too,
best
you
deliveries.
know,
Yeah, it's a
I
little
didn't
harsh
see any.
stretching.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think she necessarily did anything wrong. And I think
I
when
agree.
Beatriz called out Mel, I was kind of a little taken aback about how none of the girls backed her up, even though they all agreed that what Mel did wasn't necessarily cool. And I was
And I
like,
think,
I was like, not y'all not backing her up when you guys were like, yeah, that wasn't cool. Like Trinity did a little bit, but she's like, I can see both sides.
yeah,
But it's like, but you were saying that, but
that she didn't like it. Yeah,
yeah, so I was like, "Come on, girls, like,
they're
if you
letting
guys."
Bad take the fall for that one because
Yeah,
she's
and
the
I was
one that
like,
spoke up,
"What happened to calling each other out when you're being Delulu?" I'm like, "All y'all being Delulu right now. No
right?
one's being straight up."
If they would have said that, I think that would kind of help kind of diffuse things. If they would have just been like, "Remember, you told us that's what we're doing."
Yeah, that's why I was like, tell her she's being Delulu. No, but yeah, and so that's why I have a little bit of gripe with the girlies. I'm like, you guys are all being Delulu, and nobody is saying anything. And now the one person that might have said something, but even Beatriz, I think she had a hard time standing sometimes 10 toes down, especially with Gabrielle. I think
Hmm.
she let a lot of things slide that
Yeah,
she probably wouldn't have let slide, or if it was another girl, she would have been like, no, bitch, stand up. And so that's
yeah.
why I was like,
I think she was trying to play it too cool with Gabriella,
yeah.
which I get that as a defense mechanism to not get
Mhm.
herself like hurt. But like we knew the type of guy Gabrielle wants from the get go. This guy's a motherfucking picaflor. Like anytime he was gonna have an opportunity to explore a connection or just to even kiss somebody, he did, especially because he was attracted to them. So I was just
I
like,
was like,
yeah,
not, I was like, sir, him and Corbin. I was like,
low key, yeah, low
can you
key.
guys just chill a little bit? Can you guys just like have
This is
conversations?
like,
I'm
hey, can
like,
I pull you for a chat?
let me.
The second you sit down,
You
oh
know
my
what
god, I
killed
really
me?
like your lips. Oh my god, do you speak Spanish too?
You know what
Wait,
killed me? When Kenzie was like, oh, not the turtle tongue. And I was like, oh my God, every time she would talk about who was it? Bryce's
Bryce.
turtle tongue. I died. I was like, oh my God, Kenzie, that is so funny.
Which I think is
Um,
interesting because then you have like someone like Trinity, where I feel like if the kisses weren't good, she would have definitely said something. So it's like, oh, it's interesting how sometimes people just don't really mesh well when
I
it comes
honestly
to that.
did think that Bryce was going to be one of the people that Kenzie would have gone for, which she initially did, but she said the
She
kiss
did.
wasn't good.
That's what
But
turned
I
her off.
also
She said
think
too.
that she knew that he wasn't attracted to her. And so she was like, yeah, I'm not going to go there because I already know he's not. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's how I saw that because I was like, oh,
Because
that's
she seems to be
interesting.
more appalled about Zach than Bryce not being
Yeah,
into her.
but I guess it's again, I think she's used to certain people that look a certain way to be attracted to her because she's blonde and blue-eyed. And that's why
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we have one of those. We have a lot of growing up to do, girly.
Yeah.
But again, we're giving people grace. I think Caleb was one of the people who said that this is his first time traveling. So I was like, oh,
Why are all the southern
okay.
boys like just like don't leave their country, their little
Their
country
country,
town?
their
Remember
state.
Jalen last year was like that too. He was like small town vibes. The first time he got a
Yeah.
passport was also for Fiji. The man's now married. He was really there for love.
Oh, he really was. I was like,
Wait,
aw.
you know what I meant to say when we were talking about Bea still, and like her connection with Gabrielle? Low key, Sean is like, Bea, we could have had it all. Cause like I was serious about my shit, and our connection could have had it all. But I respect her for being like, I don't want kids.
Yeah.
It was a
It was
boundary for her, and she was like, you know what? Let me just cut it right now because I don't want to get involved emotionally, and then it's gonna be harder for me to walk away from this because of the kid.
Yeah, I mean, I think I understood. I don't necessarily know if it was mostly because of the kid. I do think what gave me a little bit more insight about Bea was the conversation that she and Mel had. I think that gave me a lot of insight as to
Mhm.
who they are. Where Mel was like, "It's because you're athletic, so you are more bound to get along with guys, and guys like that, and they don't like girls who are like." Really girly girl, they get bored. And then
It's
Bea was
actually
like,
quite
actually,
opposite.
yeah.
They think
And
I'm
the
their competition.
yeah, and the conversation that they were having, I was like heartbroken for both of them because I'm like, oh my god, like where are we so like male centered here? Like both of them
Yes,
are. But that gave me a little bit more insight as to why Bea was leading a
the way
lot
she
with
was.
sexual connection with
Mhm.
both Sean and Gabrielle.
Yeah,
And she's like, oh, I want to lean more feminine. I want to be soft. I'm like, okay, that's why she's kind of moving the way she's moving. So,
right.
okay, that makes sense. And of course, Mel makes sense too. It's like, that's why she's reacting the way she's reacting with some of the things that Sincere's saying. And obviously, she has trust issues.
Yeah,
So,
from past relationships, that definitely has come out.
and then I think the Casey and Ania seem to have the most solid, but they don't. I do think that they're both playing it safe. I
I do
had
like
a,
them together as a couple though. Like I feel like they have not to say that they're like the strongest because all of
mhm.
honestly all of that is relative at the end of the day, but I have enjoyed seeing them. And I just in general, I feel like Casey has been pretty good at being like affirming to her, but it will be interesting to see when things get a little bit more shaken up between
Yeah,
them.
I was a little torn on Casey a little bit because of the way that they were paired up. I think when he mentions that's who I wanted to pair up with, I was just like, that's interesting that you would say that. I'm like, a part of me felt it was a little performative. I think the
Mhm.
more that we get to see them talk and communicate, I think I'm like, okay, that's good that they communicate. And he does seem to affirm her. But a part of me is how much of this is performative. I think Ania lost me a little because she got really insecure. Actually, Casey to me gave very insecure from the very beginning. I was like,
He
oh, this
was.
guy's insecure.
The man was
Yeah.
the man was very because of all the L's that he had at the beginning. The plant.
Yeah. So funny. I
Hilarious.
was like, oh,
He's also young too. Like I remember my first impressions of Casey. I was like, "Oh my god, this kid is a child. He's
yeah.
22." But I think he's sort of found his footing, and I think that might have been due to the relationship he's been able to form with
But
Ania.
then, yeah.
So I do enjoy seeing them together as a couple and their dynamic so far. When Ania did get insecure, I did feel, oh, that sucks because when she was crashing out after the challenge, I was like, okay, I think it's a bit much. But then I figured, okay, she's coming from a place of I think she's been here before and that's why she reacted in that way. And I do think she's been moving and I know maybe to your point she's moving very safe, but in terms of like being respectful towards Casey with some of the challenges. So I think when and this is why we meant earlier, it's like it's interesting how sometimes the challenges they take it a little too serious with the
Yeah.
kissing and the spit swapping, like she also was very uneasy during that. And yeah, like to your point, maybe it's giving insecure in the sense of I'm gonna lose him to a kiss that he likes or another girl that he feels more like sexually attracted to or physically
Yeah.
attracted to.
Yeah, I think their conversation about colorism, I think was very interesting. Obviously, I don't think we've seen that yet
Mhm.
on Love Island at least.
Right.
So obviously that
And
gave a
it
lot
has
of
played a
intel.
role,
Yeah,
especially
it
like
gave a lot
last
of intel
season.
where Anaya's insecurity comes, and I think that's why she plays it very safe with Casey, even though they do seem to. I think I enjoy them because they seem to giggle at the most random times. I'm like, this is not the time to be tickled, but they do seem to be the strongest couple for now
Mhm.
because everybody else is a shit show.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm like, you guys are playing it very safe because you're not really exploring other places. And that's why I'm like, nobody in this house likes each other like that. I do think that if legit people came that were their type and they had a lot in common with, and maybe we would see a little bit more like, okay, let's test this relationship, let's test this connection. But even then, I'm kind of scared that Anaya won't give herself that opportunity because she's playing it so safe. Even
Yeah,
if
and she'll
somebody her type comes in, because she's like, no, I have to
be
respect
loyal.
Casey and be
Mhm.
loyal. And it's like, yes, but it's also Love Island, and
Yeah.
this is why you're here, is to test those
Right.
connections, and you can't take these things personally.
Mhm.
But I think obviously it says a lot where we are in society and the dating game and
Mhm.
expectations now with that are coming back with when it comes to dating, and where women stand, and especially Black women. I think it's hard, you know. So I that's why I'm like, oh, she's young still, give her grace. Obviously there's a lot that we don't see either,
Yeah.
so
My sister and I were talking about Ania because you see her dynamic with a lot of the group, right? Where she seems to be
mhm.
bringing the tea always in the sense that she's talking to everybody. She's trying to,
Like big
someone said, like,
sister.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's trying to be there for everybody. And someone's like, Ania's just out here giving everybody the worst advice. And I was like, that's fucked up because I feel like her heart is in the right place.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then,
sometimes I'm like,
but
have a
some,
backbone, girly. It's okay for
and
you to let
yes,
your friend know that she's in the wrong. I know
right.
she's, and this
And
is
she's
why I'm
like,
like, I know you guys are trying to be supportive, but it's okay to call out your friends. It's okay to tell them they're wrong. Even if it's
yeah.
not in public, in private, you can let them know.
And
And I
this
think
is
that's sometimes why with Anaya, I'm like, girl,
But that
let
okay,
her
so
know.
that point, right? Because on the one hand, I'm like, yes, we support women's rights and wrongs, right? So like I get it. I think there was a point where I think when Mel was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get him," and she was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, girl, do." And then Casey's like, "No, fucking
No.
come back, Mel," and she's like, "No," And so people were just kind
He's
of like
like,
you said,
tell
like
her how
have
to get up. Come back,
yeah.
don't do that. Yeah, that was so
So
funny. I
people
was
were like,
like, girl.
so
But
to your
Anaya didn't tell her to go up there. She was just
yeah, she
being
was just trying to be
supportive. She's like, if
supportive.
that's what you want to do,
Yeah.
sure. But I think she's just like, at the same time, it's like, I get it because people are like, we just want to avoid drama. And I
Hmm.
think that's where everybody's like, there's just too much drama going on with you and Sincere, and let him do him. But at the same time, when she was doing her, they were having like a whole, I can't believe she would
Oh,
do that, bro. And
disrespectful.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay,
So it's like make it
be
make
fucking for
sense.
real. She was enjoying herself, a little ping pong. I do think she knew
She knew.
she
For her to
knew.
have gone back and forth that many times, come
Yeah,
on.
she
You
knew,
A girl
but
like Mel knows, but this is my point. She plays in his face. She doesn't do it behind his back. And for that, I respect her. Like she has owned up to like her shit and has apologized, and I don't feel Sincere has come at her in the same way. Going back to Anaya though, the whole backbone thing, like yeah, I definitely have seen some of the criticism, but to a certain point though, I do feel like I did sort of stop and check myself because I feel like as we're talking about colorism, and I can see Anaya being a person that has had to navigate certain spaces in a
mhm,
way that she has dealt with, like whether it was colorism, prejudices, or just people like acting funny or being fake to her. So I
mhm.
can see her trying to come in and not necessarily people pleasing, but really trying to lean in and being like nice to everybody, and so that she doesn't get perceived a certain way, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that that's how she is, though. I do
She
think
is
Anaya is
because
one of
she's
those people
been,
that's
yeah,
very genuine, and
yeah.
she does want the
I was like,
best for
she means
you.
well, yeah.
Yeah, she does mean well. But again, I think this is just a learning experience for her where it's like you
She's
should
also
be able to
young.
express yourself and the things that you want. So I think when she was expressing frustration towards Casey, I'm glad that
She
let
did.
him know what was
Yeah.
happening. And I know a lot of people were upset that she put Sincere under the bus or whatever, because she's like, Sincere told me that you said that Soul looked like your ex. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, you know what? If
Around
Sincere's going to be
here?
out here telling people's
Yes.
business, people are going to find out whether you, it doesn't matter. You know what I
I'm
mean? So it's
not,
like,
yeah, I'm gonna tell you where my source is from because like I have nothing to hide. I'm
trying to,
trying to
yeah,
lay out all the cards on the table, and if this is real, like tell me right now. Tell me right
yeah,
now. I'm ready to go if that's the case. Because I don't need to be wait
exactly.
don't waste my time, dijo la Janae, you know? I do think that now that Bea is leaving, I am curious to see how the dynamics are gonna change in the sense that like to your point, Bea is a little bit more straightforward and kind of would like come and duke it out with you and just talk things out. And some of the people that have not really been confident in saying it with their chest out, right? Now that Bea is not there, like how the girls are going to operate and move around each other. I'm sad to see Bea go because I did like what she brought to the dynamic of the group and even the
Hmm.
girls all together. But I didn't
Yeah.
vote for this. That's all I can say.
I
I
never
see.
vote for these things. I'm like,
I
I
do.
can't be
It's so
biased.
fun. I do. It's so fun. But I haven't voted for anything this season because I think I've missed the deadlines and such. I did see a lot of people today saying like, "Can we change our vote? Like, we didn't know this was gonna get Bea kicked out." She was such a second thought or an afterthought to
Well,
people.
clearly, I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, this is why we are where we are, because you guys don't think through your decisions.
Yeah.
Clearly, I was just like,
I mean,
great.
look, yeah. If it's not a
Look at this.
reflection of where we're at as a country,
I'm like, America can't get it right. Apparently, clearly.
we were cutting it close with the LA mayor race. I was ready to fucking punch the wall. But you know, shout out to our vote in male girlies and boys that like
I did. I will say,
figure
I
it
put
out
in
to
my
go
mail
in
vote
person.
before I left. I was like, let me put it. I mean, I can't vote for any LA mayor, but I did put my vote for governor. So she was in the mail. I did
Yeah,
my citizen duty before I went on a trip to
nice.
Italia.
I'm glad you did, friend.
Yeah. But,
But
you know, I think weirdly enough, I think Zach and Kata do give also kind of strong couple vibes. They seem pretty locked in, but I
they
do
do.
think Kata is one of those people that came here with a mission.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I kind of love her, don't hate her for it because I can see it and I can call it. And that's the way she's moving. Like, okay, whatever, do your thing, queen. But I fucking hate Zach. I don't like that man. I don't. And I was just like, he's so annoying. Like, and I don't know if it's because of he's Charlie's brother that like already ticks you off.
Really? I like Charlie.
But anyway, I haven't enjoyed Zach in this season, and I don't know if it's the English in him and like it's a cultural
Wait,
thing
what
of
don't
the
you
way.
like about these brothers?
Well, no, Charlie, I feel like Charlie was a little intense. I'm not going to get into the last year season and stuff, but when it comes to Zach, I don't know. I just he came off very strong with Kata at the beginning, right? Like he was like, "This is my girl, this is it," and you know, obviously Kata reciprocated, and then all of a sudden he's kind of like a little bitch. Then when he got mad at her when Caleb straddled her or when she straddled
Yes.
Caleb, and how he literally just flipped the switch on her, and like he was just like todo indignado, and I'm like, why is this man such a starfish every time at night? Like he's just like this. Kata's like on top of him trying to be like, come on, like let's make up, and he's just like pissed off the whole time. And then he's, oh, like we're open just
But
because
they
she
are
is.
open.
No, I know, but at the beginning it felt like he was more locked in and he was actually giving like we're closed off and that's the way they were moving. And then that happened. He's like, you know what? I think we should be open. And Kata handled it like a queen. She's like, okay, yeah, we want to be open. Like that makes sense. It's still early on, whatever. But she was like, I thought we were a lot closer or locked in the
Well,
connection.
I think
And I don't appreciate
I
this.
I don't necessarily have an issue with Zach. I think Zach is one of those people that's also very straightforward. I do think that him calling out Kata was right because I personally have never seen Kata react like that with other bombshells. And he did say it seemed performative and he called her out for it and she did agree. She's like, yeah, you're right. I do think it did come off performative and maybe I did give in a little bit into that. But I do think he did obviously realize that he was a little bit more into her than she
And
was
maybe
maybe
that's
to
why he's
him.
acting like a
And
little
that's why
bitch.
maybe he was like, maybe I should open up my options a little bit more, which again, there's nothing wrong. I do think that they both agreed that obviously it's a little early.
Mm-hmm. Which is
to
fair.
close
I
things
do
off.
agree.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it is fair. I think it was a reality check for him.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think there was anything wrong with him being upset with the way that she acted. I do think that if my person hadn't acted like that before and it's clearly not somebody that's her type, then
Mhm.
why are we acting like that? You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
Caleb isn't her type, and she said
But that
before what her
but
type
like we were
is.
saying, it's like a challenge. People are having fun, you know? So that's why I was like, I didn't think it was that big of a
But
deal.
if
But like
it's
obviously he
consistency,
felt
right? But it's still
yeah.
consistency. If she hasn't acted like that in other challenges, why are you acting like that now?
Mhm.
Especially for a guy that is not your type and you don't like.
He was
So,
like, he just didn't like that he was white. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just like I don't know. He hasn't been my cup of tea. I haven't liked how he has moved or carried himself. I don't know why I just feel he's giving off very like entitled and even sometimes being a little bit too controlling or I don't know. There just has I haven't enjoyed him in the villa and then I've also not liked how he his dynamic with Bryce has been funny when he just like gives him the worst advice, I think. And then what was my last gripe with him? Oh yeah, it was funny. No, it wasn't a gripe with him. That was just I just thought it was funny how Bryce was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna pull Kata for a chat," and he was like, "You're joking,
oh, you're
right?"
serious? Yeah.
And he's like, "I thought we were bros," which I thought was very interesting on Bryce's end because for him being like the older and mature man that he is, you would think that he would think twice to do that, and only to get rejected again, mind you. Kata was pretty clear the first night that she was just not that into it. And he even tried to make it a threesome that night, and she was just like, no, stay over there.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
but
true. I forgot that it was between them two.
why would you even go there again? You know?
But
And
I
it was
think
just
that's why I
funny how Zach,
appreciate Zach's approach because I'm like, I think he took it on the chin. I would agree. I think that's weird too because it's like we are friends. It's like you and me. If it's like if
mhm,
I came up to you, we're in the show together,
mhm.
and clearly the guy picked you, and then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
shoot my
pull.
shot at your guy.
Yeah,
That's so weird. It's like, what do you
it
mean?
is. I did think it was very weird of Bryce to do that.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
But
all
I
the
think
people.
Zach was right to feel the way he did. But I do think that he was pretty straight up about it. And he was like, I do think it's weird, but you're my friend. So I'm also just
I
going to let you do
guess
you because I do want you to
he
be
was also
happy.
no,
So
he was
that's why I was
also
like,
like, also she's gonna reject you, so it's
yeah.
fine. Like you
But
have
that's why I
no
was like,
chance.
I do think that they're probably one of the stronger ones because I do think that they both know where each other stands. I think now Zach is a little bit more realistic of the way that Kata is moving. And I
Mhm.
think he had to check himself. He's like, oh, yeah, we're on Love Island. Like, as
We're
much as I like
still,
her, I should be
yeah.
exploring other people because you never know. And
Mhm.
I think Zach to me is one of more the realistic people. And I do think I can see how he may come off entitled, but I think he's just a confident person and like knows what he wants and he
He's
knows
just
why
like
he's on the show.
insane. He's
He
like,
like
I'm
he knows he's a
insane.
nepo brother. You know what I mean? He knows he got on the show because of his brother. So it's like I got on the show. I'm
Yeah.
going to make the best of it of what I can. I'm going to give you as much drama as I
I
can,
love
and
I thought it
you
was
know,
funny because he really did set the tone when he was like, "Well, I'm an original." Like he was a bombshell. I'm an
yeah,
original cast member, and I was like,
yeah,
"Okay, that's
yeah.
funny."
I was
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, that's
I'll
fun.
see if I'll
Yeah.
come around to Zach, but so far he's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I think if he got eliminated, I wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, Zach got eliminated." You know, I'm like, whatever's about him. But I
Yeah.
do respect his relationship with Bryce and his whole thing with Kata. They're pretty good at communicating about where they're at, and I think that's one of the things that I respect about Anaya and Casey, and then
Mhm.
Zach and Kata is that they're really good at communicating and kind of
Yeah,
expressing their emotions. Anaya could
and
work
they're
on it a little
genuine.
bit,
And they're
yeah, but
genuine
and
about
they're
it. Like I do believe Kata and Zach and obviously Casey and Anaya when they're talking to each other, that is credible to me. I feel like Trinity and Bryce's conversations also feel credible to me, but then there's also just like you said, there's just like a lot of things against them. The age, they're not each other's type, if you
backgrounds,
will, and
yeah.
the background. So that's why it's kind of a little risque. But I mean, it's Love Island. That's what
Yeah,
you're here to do. Try out
I
new things,
wish they
get out of
showed
your
more
comfort
of their like deep
dynamic.
conversations that they seem to have because
Yeah,
they both are like, oh yeah, like we have great conversations. I can be myself around you. I do think their communication is also really good.
it is. Yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah,
honest.
but I wish they showed a little bit more of like, because they
Their
said that they
dynamic.
had a fight about him not being as affectionate, and I was like, oh, that was a fight.
It
What did we
didn't
miss?
feel
I'm
like
like,
it didn't
yeah,
feel like a fight, but you're right. Maybe we didn't get more of that. We didn't, that wasn't screened enough, because I do remember their conversation where she was saying, "Oh, I feel like we're not affectionate enough," which I think said a lot for her, because I remember initially she did say she was into sex and all that, but then as she was first trying to break the ice with Bryce, she was a little like, "I'm not all about PDA right away. I need a slow burn into it."
her age too, because I know one of Bryce's gripes with her is that she compares the relationship a lot to other
Mhm.
people's. And
Yeah,
it's like, she's young, you know what I mean? In her mind, certain relationships look a certain way. I can tell you really like me if certain things are happening, whether
right.
it's realistic or toxic or not. So obviously, I think that's one of the things where I'm like, yeah, this is probably not going to last because she is so young and she has to experience a certain type of relationship. And I don't know if Bryce is going to be the person to give her
Give her
that.
what she wants.
Yeah.
I do think that it said a lot from her going from at first when they were coupled up of don't do too much PDA too soon because I'm still kind of warming up to you, right? To now where she's like, I want more affection. Because I was like, oh, she's really into him. So that's why now she's open to the affection and everything. And it
Yeah.
kind of was a little reminiscent of Serena and Cordell, how they were also slow burn at the beginning and were also kind of just like trying to,
Yeah.
they did have that sort of friends to lovers kind of
But I
arc.
believe it more with them than
Of
here. I'm like, here
course,
we're
because they
really,
were
really
more
trying to push that
compatible,
and it's not working. I'm sorry. Like
and they were more
that's
well because Cordell and Serena were definitely more compatible. But I have enjoyed watching Bryce and Trinity get together and like their little dynamic. It's been fun to watch,
Mhm.
and we'll see what the rest of the season unfolds. I was like, okay, I'm ready for Casa now after this
Yes.
episode.
I
I'm
was
like,
actually thinking the same
LA,
thing. I'm like, Costa's gonna be really needed
so
in
good.
here and they
Yeah,
better have
it's gonna test shit. Yeah.
great bombshells
Hmm.
because we need to stir up the pot here. I'm like, we need to make connections and
Yeah.
they better bring people that are gonna bring those connections. Cause I'm like, why are we halfway through and there's like nothing? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why I've enjoyed the season so much, because it's felt like a slow burn and it hasn't moved too fast yet. But I know that it is not the usual script for Love Island, so I'm sure that they're going to pick things up. And as always, production's paying attention to the public's reaction, so they might pivot and change things up. I have enjoyed the challenges that they've had so far. I think they've been fun to watch. What did you think about the pie stuff and Soul crashing, not crashing out, but she felt some type of way? I felt for her in the sense that it does suck to feel that way, and obviously she was in her feels about it. But then I'm curious what else is going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing, to because it felt like out of left field.
Yeah, I forgot who said it, but someone said that
Yeah,
like some of the pies that they gave her, they should have given to Mel. I don't know if it
it
was
was
Bia
Bea.
or
It was
yeah.
Bea.
And so with
I
that,
was
I
like,
was like,
wow, what a hater. No, just
I was
kidding.
more so, I was like, okay, what has happened that we didn't see? What did Sincere tell the boys that we didn't see? Because even after that, I felt like Sincere was a little like, you know what I mean? He's like a little off of Soul a little bit. And I was like, what did he tell the boys to make it seem like she's not wanted anymore? You know what I mean? Like to give her a little bit of like,
Their
I don't
last
know.
chat, Sincere's and Soul's last chat, was definitely interesting because he was not leading with the physicality. There was a lot of more space between them, whereas like their previous chats, they were so close to each other, they were always touching each other. So I did
It
think
it
that was
didn't feel like
interesting.
he was even listening to her. Like he was just trying to
Yeah,
like,
she
yeah, you're a
seemed
strong woman. I'm like,
well,
bitch.
this is why I'm like,
Sorry.
this is why I feel like Sincere is not sincere, and this is why I've been so annoyed with him, because I feel like he's one of those people that has used that part where guys will fake the intimacy by sharing like intimate and personal things so that you feel closer, and then that will like that's a segue into being physical and intimate with them. But meanwhile, it's just a front, it's just a facade, and once he kind of has you there, he's kind of just like, you know what, I think I'm
Like
good.
they will fake the emotional intelligence because
Exactly.
I'm telling you, people, they're evolving.
Yeah, so that's why he's on my shit list. But, time will tell. And again, we only see so much from what the producers push forward to us. I did think that it was interesting that Soul was feeling that way. And again, this is just based off what we've seen, because I don't think she has really made an effort to really connect with the group outside of
But we haven't seen that
Sincere.
though.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we haven't seen it. And I don't know if it's because it's been edited that way, or if that's what's actually going on. But I
Well, I
mean,
mean, she
obviously
said
the
that
setup,
everybody seemed locked in, so it's a little
yeah,
hard to make those connections. And the only one who really tried to make a connection with her was Sincere. I think this comes to mean more like some of the guys are not willing to be perceived as a bad guy and throw away whatever they have because
it's
they're
the
playing it
safe.
safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's where I'm like, I respect Sincere because he really seems to be wanting to trust the process. And so that's why I'm like, you can't be on my shit list because you're the only one that's really trying here. Even though you're not
Right.
navigating it the
Yeah, his
best, you
yeah.
could be a little bit more honest about your intentions. I know you're not trying to hurt Mel's feeling, but then at the same time, you
You
are hurting
are,
her because
yeah,
you aren't
you're
being
making it that
honest.
much worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, it's because they're young. It's a reality TV show. People are
Yeah.
watching. Lives change after this show. And I'm sure that they're trying to set
That's
themselves
also
up
on the
as
balance
best as
for
they
them.
can. And then after everything that happened last season and some of the edits that some people cut, I think that for sure the casting this year felt very normal. And I think it was obviously intentional because I think people were getting tired of all these influencers just coming on here for the wrong reasons. And it seems that a lot of the cast this time around seem to be coming on for the right reasons. They're not necessarily here to become famous. We don't know. We probably won't know
I'm
until
sure
we
there's
see
a
it after.
level of that. That's why they're
There's a
playing it
level of
safe
it.
because they
Yeah.
know what what
The
either
show
being
can
a
do for you. Yeah.
yeah, either being a likable person on as a cast member or winning the show can do for you after the
Yeah.
show. So that's definitely hanging on the balance, I'm sure, for some folks.
Yeah. And that's
But
why I can appreciate, even though there's some people that I'm like, about, I'm like, I can appreciate that you're being as genuine as you can possibly be, or that's just who you
within the
are. And
game.
yeah, because I'm like,
At the end of the day,
ooh,
that's what I think that's what makes it tricky and navigating dating in general is very tricky and being in this pressure cooker type of environment, the gamification of it all, right?
mm,
It changes the way you move in these spaces. I did think it was interesting how Anaya came in as a person who was very open about having a roster, right? And I remember even the girls all side-eyed her when they were like, "Oh, do you guys have rosters?" And they're like, "No." Everybody tried to pretend like they didn't have rosters or
yeah.
and then I was like, it is what it is. Like that's what dating is nowadays. Like you got to keep your options open. Like she was very honest about that. So I have seen it interesting that she's moved completely in opposite in the villa when
Yeah.
you would think that she would be leaning into her roster skills, if you will, to like navigate different connections. But it could also be because she hasn't really seen anybody else that has really catch her eye in that way
Yeah.
that she
But I
wants
also think
more
it's her seeing
some
how people
connection.
have treated Mel, who has moved a certain way. And I
True.
think she is conscious of that. And they're like, how some of the boys have reacted. Again, a lot of these girls are male centered. So it's like, I'm trying to make this best impression as I can,
Yeah.
especially, like we discussed colorism and the stereotypes that a lot of African American women are given when they are on the show,
Yeah.
especially what they attempted last year with Alandria
Hmm.
and tried to make her like the
The villain.
spiteful, yeah, when obviously she wasn't. And I think that that's something obviously that we've discussed that Anaya seems to be very conscious about, and that's why she's like, I'm your big sister, I'm trying to make sure that everybody's good and happy and having a great time, even though maybe some of the advice could be a little bit more honest and
Yes,
not
honest.
so like given to the delusion of it all. But again, what do you expect from 20-year-olds? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I remember when I was this young in Delulu. Like,
You're like, I
damn,
wish I could go in there and be like, girl. Not kidding.
get it together. No, I feel like I was actually like, I would never thrive on shows like this because I don't think I would ever even get picked because I don't think I would give drama enough for people. Maybe enough to be like, oh, she's a bitch, but I don't think I would give enough to be picked to be on these type of shows because I'm
You're
like,
like,
yeah, I
I
don't.
would be a personality higher. Just kidding.
I love Trinity for that. I'm like, girl, same. I'm like, I'm a side character. I get introduced by the actual reality stars
She's
and
like,
then I just
I'm
happen to
friend
stick
of.
around. Yeah,
Remember when Joey and I were talking about that when we were talking about Real Housewives?
exactly.
And
Yeah,
Joey was like, you're a friend of. Just
yeah,
kidding.
exactly. But yeah,
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
gotta give all these people grace. And
And
so
props to
I'm,
them for putting themselves on the line like that. I mean, it's not an
yeah,
easy feat. Like we said, we've seen the dark side of going, whether it's viral or becoming famous overnight. And I think in Love Island history, there have been a couple of folks that haven't dealt with either the backlash or the fame of it all and have unfortunately like unalived themselves because of it. So I think
hmm
it's, I do think that it goes without saying that we should be mindful of the fact that these people are just children at the end of the day, and give them grace
Yes.
because we don't know what they're going through in there. And we only see a certain side of it. We see the edited and cut version that producers are giving us to push a certain narrative, to push views and such. So take it all with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah. But also, I
Not
think
in a
it's an
bad
eye
way.
opener still that people say they want certain things and then they still shit on the stuff that they're given. Like, oh, we want normal people, we want real people. And it's like, you guys still
You
shit on
can't
them for
flip it
being
because you
normal and then
have your
reacting a
feelings.
certain way because it's
Yeah.
like, who wouldn't react that way? It's like
Having
you are
human
stuck in this
emotions.
villa with all these people for a certain amount of time. Like, that's all you see, that's all you talk to. And it's a very stressful environment. Like, obviously, our people are going to have
You're
very
gonna see
intense
the worst of
emotions.
people. It's gonna
Yeah.
bring out the worst of people. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I
Well,
was thinking about too. I was like, damn, like you really just have to pick out of like this group because that's all there is. And I'm like, I probably would be like, no, there's probably more people coming in. I also have to be like, there's possibility of there being a better option. Oh, I would hate navigating this. I am that person and be like, what if somebody does come in? I don't want
mhm.
to lock it down that quick and
Which
you
makes
know.
sense because that's the name of the game at the end of the day. That's what
Mhm.
Love Island is. Your connections are bound to get tested and such. And even with a few days in, it's still very early for people to be that serious about things. But I guess they're
Mhm.
serious about winning, and that's why they're like, we need to make sure that we lock in a connection, at least until the next best
Yeah.
thing comes out. But all in all, I've enjoyed the season so far. I'm definitely going to continue to tune in throughout, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Who do you think is going to be dropped off the island next? Or like do you obviously they always drop a couple, so what couple do you think is like bye-bye?
That's interesting because it has to be someone that's not as likable. And so far, I can see Trinity and Bryce being like one of those like 50-50 where like a lot of people
Yeah,
do like them, but then also a lot of people, like you were saying, like this isn't shit. Like they don't need
it's
to be
not
together.
happening.
But they
Yeah.
wouldn't want to get rid of Trinity because she's a personality hire and they're damn straight. No, just kidding. She is so good on the show and they would
Yeah.
like to see her have her moment with like her person and there's
Yeah.
someone out there for her. So obviously they wouldn't vote her off. I can see people wanting to get Mel off. I don't know about getting Corbin
Yeah,
off, but
unfortunately.
I've seen a lot of Corbin hate. I
Yeah,
don't
I
see
mean
them voting
Corbin,
on Casey or Anaya because I do think that they're fan favorites to some folks right now. So yeah, I honestly can't confidently say anyone right now of like, oh yeah, it'd be this or that. Maybe Jada and Zach, but that's me being biased because that's who I would drop. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to do that at Kada. Um, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know who's the next to be dropped off. That's why I said I'm
I
like, I'm
I
ready for Casa.
I do agree. I think if it had to be anybody, it probably would be Gabriel and Jen just
Oh my
because
god, I forgot about them. Yes, them. Yes,
because
them.
it's like why obviously they didn't.
Jen is not doing it for
Yeah.
me.
She's not, but I think Gabriel could find somebody. So
Mhm.
that's I would want to keep him because I could see him making a connection in the house. I could see Corbin making a connection in the house. I do want to see Corbin's storyline after Bia leaves because it seemed like that really affected him. And so, oh, they're setting us up to see a little bit more of a human side, I guess, to
Yeah,
Corbin,
because
other than the fuck
he,
boy that he's
he
been
hasn't
presenting or edited as.
he hasn't
Um,
beat the AI allegations, so it'll be interesting to see a different side of him.
Yeah. And then individually, Bryce is on the chopping block. I can see Jen is on the chopping block. I honestly could see Soul leaving on
I can
her
see
own
that too.
terms. I could see her leaving because of everything that's happened. And if things keep going the way they are with Sincere, I can see her being like, I'm done. But I do want to see somebody come in for her. I do think that she could find someone
Yeah.
in Casa and
Hmm.
someone good for her. I want to see her
Yeah.
thrive.
Yeah, I
Um,
felt bad to see her crying and so because I thought she came in so strong and was just like, bombshelling basically. So to see her that like hurt and her spirit being that broken,
Yeah.
that sucks because I feel like there's so much more potential for her, whether it's with Sincere, like you said, if she thrives with somebody else.
I mean, I could see Sincere being dropped if people are like,
I also
bro.
see her coming in. She definitely came in with an intention to stay. So it's like whether it was locking in Sincere or anybody else, she was gonna
Yeah.
stay. She definitely was a girl on a mission, and that's why she didn't disclose that so and so kissed her. And the way she was moving at first is very like very demure, very low key. But now
Yeah.
obviously out in the open.
I'm curious to see how Corbin and Mel's connection goes because I will say I was curious to see them explore that. But I do think that Mel needs somebody that's not Corbin. I
Agreed.
want to see somebody come in. I need a Miguel. I don't know why Mel reminds me a little bit of Leia. She gives me Leia vibes just a bit, not the standing on business part, but
Mhm.
there's a portion of her that gives me Leia, and I need a Miguel to show up for her and just, I
Yeah.
don't know,
I
just
feel
do
it
something.
I do feel like she needs her Leah arc in the
Moment.
sense,
Yeah.
yeah, her Leah arc, just like when Rob played in her face and dropped her after the next shiny thing came in, when they were supposed to be one of the strongest couple, that they were like very in sync very early on,
Yeah.
that you thought that they had the potential to be strong. And then the second that man was just like moved the way she did, she was like, I'm done, and moved, and she carried on, and then, like, God blessed her with
Yeah.
Miguel. So it's like
Yeah.
I would like to see that for her because I definitely
Well, I
think
mean,
that
after the speech she gave, she's like, "You can have this. I don't want this
I
triangle." I was
I'm
like,
just
"Oh, are we
hoping
done? Are we
I'm
done?"
hoping that it was real and that she's not going to take it back, because how many times has she not gone back to that man and given him other chances? I did think LOL, because she kept saying like, I wish you guys the best. And I'm like, okay, girl, you said it once and I hope you mean it. And then when she was kind of like, I'm done with it, I'm like, yes, okay, cool. She's gonna
Yeah.
really dive into this opportunity with Corbin or whoever the fuck else comes up her way. So I'm like, good for her. You know, it's fine. Like I said, it's let her have her Leah moment of fuck Rob and moving on, and then you moved on to bigger and better things. But time
Which
will
is funny
tell.
because I didn't expect too much from Sincere or this edit from Sincere. I expected it a little bit from Casey because this man is insecure. I can see him being insecure and fucking shit up. But I'm surprised it came more from Sincere than Casey, and that Casey's been moving as safe as he has been for now. I do want to see their relationship a little bit more, their connection. I think that right now they've just kind of been playing like mom and dad to other people. And I need to see a little bit more of them. Like we see their deep conversations, we see their insecurity driven conversations, but I need a little bit more intimate,
And
like
it could also
let's
be
really
like
get into it.
And it could also be, like you said, they've just been edited that way. For all we
Yeah.
know, they're having those type of things going on, but we just haven't seen it because they
I mean,
haven't.
we did get a break from Bea and Gabrielle for a while, and then all of a sudden she's gone. So I was like, fuck, dude. When that happened, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? Why aren't we seeing Bea and Gabrielle? Why are they cooling us off of that? Because they were on them
Yeah.
for a while, for like a
Mhm.
good 4
Yeah.
episodes. And now we know why. Because they were like, let's rig this.
Yeah.
We're like, let's kick her off.
Yeah. They're like, okay, we had never mind. I'm not gonna say that. But anyways, yeah. I did enjoy Bea on the show, and I wish she was on longer. But I'm sure she's gonna be thriving because she's like an
Yeah.
Olympian and stuff, and she's just like a
At the
badass.
moment she came on screen, I'm like, that's Olympian. Like, I don't know why. I was like, she gives athlete, she gives Olympian. And then as soon as she was like, oh yeah, I was like, I knew it. I just knew it. There was an aura about her. And she gives Olympian.
I was like, I felt seen, a disability girl on TV.
No, she
No,
cracked
I
me
thought
up
it
when
was
she would
great.
joke about her leg. And she's like, oh, I didn't feel it. And she's like, I'm standing 10 toes down and I don't even have 10 toes. I
Yeah,
was like,
she's
oh my
funny with
God.
it. I'm like, I love
Yeah.
that for her. Yeah.
She's like, I'm not deaf. I just don't have a leg. Or was it I'm not blind? I think it was one of those. Yeah, I
One of
forget which
those.
one.
Yes.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, dead. That is so funny. And then when she was like, I compete for medals, not men, I'm like, period.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
I'm
She's
like,
gonna be all right. That's why when even like
yeah,
her taking her loss, like she took it to the chin. She's like, it's fine. I
yeah,
came here to do what I wanted to do. I had fun. You know, it sucks to leave because she was forming fun connections with everybody, but she's gonna
yeah. I
be,
will say, I'm like, obviously, there's things that we need to work on, girly, but love
yeah,
the
like everybody else.
confidence, love the way you presented yourself. I think that she did great. So I'm excited to see what's next for her. I want to see what happens in her Olympic career and how this shapes it, I guess, more, if
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, that's what I
The
said. She's probably
exposure she
gonna
gets,
do
yeah.
well. Yeah, she's gonna be doing well for herself after the show. I
Yeah.
know she had a lot of haters, and I was just like, why? Why do we hate her? People are like saying that she's like entitled and that she's this or
Mm.
that, and I'm just like, because she's confident. People have never seen a confident
Oh,
woman.
I was gonna
I
say,
was like,
and I know that some people were upset with the way that again Bia came at
Mel.
Mel. But I'm like, honestly,
I
it's an
don't think
athlete thing. I was like, she's an
Yeah.
athlete and athletes are spoken to in a certain way by their coaches. So it's like you were given feedback in a certain way. And I'm
She's like,
like,
it was
that's why,
constructive
yeah,
feedback.
it was constructive feedback. And a part of me was like, oh yeah, I could see how maybe the delivery wasn't great, but I still don't think the delivery was wrong. And I'm like, I think it's an
Yeah.
athlete thing because I didn't even pick that up as it being rude or in any sort of way. But maybe it's an athlete thing because I've had coaches in my face and like being
Yeah.
right here. And it's like, yeah, you take it on the chin and everybody's like, whoa, that's fucking scary. But it's like,
Yeah,
it's
and I think
how,
that's where
you
maybe the
know,
tone and delivery was a little bit
mhm.
off because for her it was a baseline, like that's norm for her, but
Yeah,
not everybody is used to people calling them out like that and so
yeah,
straightforward, and then it being on a national platform that it kind of
yeah,
like freaked her out. I don't think that she did the most in there. The only thing was where Mel was like, "Okay, I'm sorry" or whatever, even though it was kind of like a half-assed sorry. It seemed like she wasn't receiving the response that she wanted from Mel. So she kind of kept going at it with her. And that's where Mel's kind of like, you know what? I'm not doing this. And she walks off. That was the only thing that I can see why people were like, oh, she did too much. But I don't think she was out of place in calling her out in it.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think it's more so like I think Bia clocked that Mel was just apologizing to apologize and not
yeah.
necessarily because she meant it and she was deflecting. Because that's
Mhm.
how I understood it. It was giving
Yeah.
more deflection than anything. And
Mhm.
that's why when Anaya's like, well, you apologize, that's all that matters. It's like, no,
She
I
wasn't
do think she
getting
took
it. So that meant that
responsibility,
she
but
was
you
going to
weren't
do it
getting it.
again.
Yeah, you immediately shut off and you got defensive and you know what you were doing. And she
Yeah.
admitted it. She's like, yeah, I did a little too much. But I also respect the fact that she's like, give me 10, give me 10, give me 10. Because it's
Yeah.
fine. It's okay for you to want your space to
Yeah.
collect
People are
yourself.
trying to crash out. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't blame her for walking away because I would prefer that you walk away instead of engaging in something that you know you might not come off correct because you go in it emotionally rather than think about what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to say. And then she's like, you know what?
Right.
Yeah, I did too much, but I do apologize. And when she got back, it's like, okay, yeah, you're right. But also maybe come at me this way because that's just how I function, which is valid too. It's like, okay, noted. I will come at you in that
It was
way
a
so
learning
that
experience for
yeah, it's
both
a
of
learning
them.
experience for both of them. Conversations were had like adults.
Yeah.
No fighting was needed, no yelling was needed. And
Talked it
I
out
will say,
afterwards.
yeah,
So I thought that that was
they've
good on
all
their end.
had like really good confrontational conversations where
Yeah.
voices haven't been
Yeah.
raised.
I do think that they've handled their disagreement very maturely. And even when they haven't been able to see eye to eye, they've tried to cool off and then be like, okay, let's come back and kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
What did you think about Kenzie not wanting to talk to Zach after he was trying to like clear the air with her after he left her for Kada?
I think that was
Yeah.
dumb.
I was
I
like,
was
it's
like,
immature. I was like,
yeah,
she's 22, so it makes sense. But also, I was like, girl, get over it. You're not even
yeah,
blonde. No, I'm just kidding. You're gonna be fine. Like, you're a pretty
yeah.
person.
You didn't even
Just
like him. Like, let's be for real. You
that's
didn't
it. Was
like
just a pick
him.
me of her that, and like,
Yeah.
it was a
It was
cheap
just
slap
the
in her
need to
face.
be wanted. And it's
Yeah,
like
and
you
the
didn't
fact
even
that
like Zach.
someone that didn't look like her was more favored than her. That was
Desired. Yeah.
desire. That was also a hard pill to swallow, especially
Mhm.
for a white woman like her.
I was surprised she picked Zach. I was like, why would you pick Zach? I mean, like,
Because he
get
was the
because she
only
didn't
other
like
white guy
Bryce,
there.
but
Just
also it's
kidding.
like that's why I was like, oh, there's some intentional shit happening here. Like, obviously, when Corbin picked Kenzie, also, I was like, oh, I don't see him fucking with Kenzie like that. To be quite honest, I do think that
I
he
don't know.
fucked with
He's
Mel
from
more.
Miami
Yeah,
and he's
but
a
I
light
do
skinned
think,
bro. I can see
yeah,
him
but I
being into
still think that
blonde.
he considers like their backgrounds a little bit more. I do think that background wise, like he wouldn't be with someone like Kenzie
Mhm.
aside from looks. Looks,
Right.
sure. Background, no. So when he picked Kenzie, okay, so you're playing it safe too because why didn't you pick Mel? I feel like
Because
Mel is definitely more his type and they do have a little bit more in common, but I do think he played it
of
safe
the
and he's like Kenzie's
connection
the only one who's
available.
unpartnered right now and
Yeah.
available and a little needy and a little like desperate, so let me pick her.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens on the next episode. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode and this little reality check of Love Island. I guess now I'll go ahead and finish the season and we'll check back in for the finale to see if
Yes.
some of our
Predictions or if our
predictions are
instincts,
correct. Yeah.
our
Who do you think is
judgment.
going to win? It's definitely going to be
Too
like
early
maybe
to
one of the
tell
OGs. I think it's one of the
for sure.
OGs and like a Casa or a Bombshell. It's not going to be any of the OG couples that we have currently. So I don't think it's going to be any of the OGs for now.
I think it's too early to tell for me, so I'm not even going to cast in my predictions yet.
Okay, whatever. Just kidding, loser. Just
I'm
kidding.
not so confident in anybody yet, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't think it's any of the couples that are in right now. I think if
Oh,
it's
I
going to
see
be
what
an
you mean.
OG, it's going to be somebody that's going to come
For sure,
in
an OG.
and make a thing, or it's going to be somebody, some bombshells that get together after a while that have better connections. So we'll see what happens. I can see Zach getting dropped. I could see Kata getting dropped. I could see them getting separated somehow. I could see the producers being messy and being like, you guys are boring. Let's break you up.
Yeah, right? They're like, there's no fucking way we're letting you guys win.
Yeah, there's no motherfucking way we're not
Just like
testing
they
you.
dropped Taylor and what's his face at, like right before the
And Aaron.
finale. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, technically that was
exactly.
a public.
All right, everyone. Well, let us know your thoughts and check back in with us for the next episode of Love Island, a little reality check. And I hope you guys missed us because we missed you and we're back to
Yeah.
our regularly schedule. So check in and let us know if there's anything that you guys would like us to deep dive into. We have all the time in the world now. All right, everyone. Have an amazing day. Ciao.
Bye,
And
everyone.
see you on the next
Catch you on the
episode.
next one. Bye.
Bye.